Welcome to the Incoherent Fangirl.
Where we are in mourning because Tom Hiddleston is now engaged.
I'm really trying to put on a brave face about that one. He was my backup plan if anything happened to Josh. So currently
Uh,
in mourning. I am Mandy from Atlantia.
and I'm Karen from Gotham.
Welcome back. Episode
Welcome,
3.
welcome. We're still doing it.
We're still doing it. Before we really get into the episode, I want to give a little quick correction. Last week, I talked about the Witch of Crimson Arrows, which is A.K. Mulford's novella, and I said that it came between the High Mountain Court and the Witch's Blade. It does not. It's actually a prequel novella before the High Mountain Court takes place. And it's not the Five Courts of Oakrith series, it's the Five Crowns of Oakrith series. So I was wrong on all accounts, but I read it. It's great. Highly recommend that series. And I stand corrected.
That's exciting, though. That sounds fun.
Yeah, it was a good read. It was a quick read, but it was great. So
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. That's great. It's always fun when you can get through something really quickly because I just want to know what happens.
yeah. And this one I was able to read like the night before the War of Two Queens came out, which can segue us right into fictional boyfriend of the week.
Yay.
I've been talking about him for every episode so far because I knew it was coming, but Castile Denier, man, I just love that man. I have, as I said last week, I did finish the War of Two Queens this week. There's a lot of drama about it on Book Talk, which we can get into, I guess, in this week in fangirling.
All right.
Um, but my highlight moment of this entire week was when I'm reading The War of Two Queens and Castile Denier, my book boyfriend that I would choose over Reese, says something about how thigh daggers are wildly arousing. And it gave me such a superiority complex to have a thigh dagger tattooed on my leg. So I
Oh,
was
I
like, oh
love
yeah.
it.
I was so excited.
That's
So yeah,
awesome. I
I
remember you
have,
texted me and it was a great moment.
oh yeah. So that is my one fictional boyfriend of the week. I don't need anybody else's. Well, I love Kieran from Blood and Ash too, but nobody touches Castile this week.
Well, it's good that you only picked one because I have a handful. I was like, I was texting Mandy and I said, I'm having a hard time choosing just one for this week. And then I realized it's my podcast. I can choose however many I'd
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
So this week, my fictional boyfriend of the week is a few people, and they're not all boys. Um, so last week, my bookish boyfriend was Roma Montagov, who I'm still in love with. I love Roma. Roma was he's just he's so sweet, and he's just I have no words to explain how much I love Roma Montagov. But I also, speaking of thigh daggers, I fell in love with Juliet Sai as well, who also
Yeah.
has a thigh dagger. While reading the sequel to These Violent Delights, because I finished that this week, and we can talk about that more later. But both Juliet and Roma, I fell in love with this week, and they have my heart. I adore
See,
them.
all the coolest, all the best girls have thigh daggers. Okay. All of the best book girls.
Hell yes. Hell
Yeah.
yes. I love them. And in a surprising twist, I also fell in love with Roma's cousin Benedict Montagov. He was just so precious, and something happened in the book that just made me so happy for him because I was so sad and it yeah. So basically my fictional boyfriends slash girlfriends of the week are all from the same series
Your
because it
family.
is just it's just I'm so in love. You should try it. I
I'll try
recommend
it.
it
I'll try it.
because I need you to
I could do that.
understand how I love these people. Just as like a little side thing to throw in, I also kind of fell in love with Colin Firth's version of Mr. Darcy this week.
Just now?
I just watched it for the first time. This will
Hold
segue
on.
perfectly into this week in fangirling,
I am shaken.
which I have broken Mandy.
Yeah.
So as you know, I'm sure you know, Mandy, I have movie night with our friend Beth every week, um,
Yeah.
virtually because she lives in Oklahoma and I'm in California. And so we alternate weeks who gets to choose what. And she chose the 6 episode BBC miniseries version of Pride and Prejudice with Colin
Uh-huh.
Firth. And first of all, I had a thing where I had to read the book first. So I read the book first and then we started the series. And
Love it.
I was very concerned because I know everybody loves Mr. Darcy. And of course, when you first start out, you're just like,
Yeah. You're
sir,
like,
what is
how?
wrong with you? Like, what is wrong with all these people who are simping over this man? Because I cannot stand him right now. But then you keep going and you're just like, okay, I get it. And the looks that he gives her in the
Yes.
later episodes,
So I have to ask you,
yes,
because I'm gonna like you're gonna have homework that like I may need to stop the podcast homework.
okay.
Have you ever seen the 2005 Pride and Prejudice movie?
Is that the one with Keira Knightley?
Yes. I'm so scared.
I feel like I might have, but I don't
There's no
remember.
might. If you have seen it, you remember the hand flex.
Okay, then
That
I
Mr. Darcy tops everyone. Okay.
so so yeah, Pride and Prejudice. We finished it this week. We finished the last 2 episodes. So we did 2 episodes a week for during her weeks because
Okay.
we didn't want to do all 6 episodes in one sitting. It's a bit much.
Yeah. Oh,
Um
for sure.
so so we finished it this week and it was just my heart.
Yeah.
And because we accidentally missed movie night last week for some reason, I don't know what happened. We both just kind of like forgot. We did 2 this week. And so we
Okay.
also watched Netflix's Over the Moon, which was my pick. Have you seen this yet?
I haven't. I don't even think I've heard of that.
Oh my gosh, I love it so much. It's one of my favorite movies. So it is about a girl whose mother passes away, and
Mhm.
her dad is it starts a relationship with a new woman and is going to get married to her. And so she is having this like crisis because she is a child and she's like, no, it's only supposed to be your one true love. And she's like thinking her dad's forgetting about her mom and whatnot. And so she goes on an adventure to prove that the moon goddess Chang'e exists, because the whole myth is that Chang'e um, became immortal and had to leave her one true love, Hoyi, who stayed as immortal. And so
Uh-huh.
she's just waiting for him to come back or for to get him back or whatnot. And so she goes on this adventure to the moon, and it's a musical. And Pippa
Oh,
Sue from Hamilton is the voice of Chang'e, and she has an epic song that I'm obsessed with. Um, and who else is in it? Kathy Ung is the main character. Sandra Oh plays the dad's
wow.
girlfriend. John Cho is the dad. Ken Jeong plays a character who I'm obsessed with, and you will be too when you watch it. So
All
I highly recommend it. It's
right, I'm
very
gonna add
cute.
that to my homework.
Yes, it's on Netflix. It's a Netflix original. It's called Over the Moon.
All right, I'm
And
typing it in now.
I told Beth when we were watching, I'm like, you need to read Daughter of the Moon Goddess afterward. It's not, they weren't made for each other, but they're both about the myth of Chang'e, and it's so
Yeah.
good. So, Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Su Lin Tan is the book that
Yeah, I need to
I
add that to my
it's
Goodreads as well.
and then what else did I read this week? This week I finished These Violent Delights. I read there's like a little novella, like not like a novella, it's just like a short story that she wrote, like posted to her website. And then the sequel, Our Violent Ends, and I am empty inside.
Oh
I
no.
the it everything wrapped up really well, and it's a beautiful story, and I actually really enjoy the ending. I want more. I want
Yeah.
more of these characters, and I'm just, uh, but Chloe Gong is coming out with a new book. I think later this year because I've pre-ordered it. It's called Foul Lady Fortune, and it follows one of the characters from this series. So I'm excited about that, and it's a character that we didn't really see too much of. She did play a big part in the second book of the duology. But we don't see her very much. Like it's not so much like you don't know much about her character. So I'm really
Right.
interested. And I read like I normally don't read the little blurbs about books, but I read this one and I'm really excited about it. And Chloe Gong also posted something to her Instagram stories that kind of tease like a possible other spin-off about two other characters that I'm obsessed with.
Oh,
So
nice.
I'm so excited. If Chloe Gong somehow listens to this, please, I would love an arc and I would love to read them all and give you all my thoughts because I need to know what happens.
You need more.
I love these characters so, so much. And I just was just like, I finished it and I was like, oh, does this mean I'm never gonna hear from them again? I was so sad, even though it ended so well.
I'm
So,
sitting here like curious because this is based off Romeo and Juliet, right?
well, so it's kind of like a Romeo and Juliet retelling, and it she does kind of play into it in like you know what the Romeo and Juliet story is, and
But
so
do
when
they
you're
die? Like I'm
so
sitting here like,
so
how
when
are they
you're
not
reading it,
dead?
you're just like, oh wait, what's gonna happen? Is this and there are moments where you're just like, oh my God, it's Romeo and Juliet, and then you're like, wait, what just happened? And so
Okay,
it's just
good.
just read it. It's really really good, and she wrapped up this story really well, and anything that she brings to life afterwards, I think will follow other characters, not Roma and Juliet. And I think it'll be really great because it'll expand the world some more while
Yeah,
not like cheapening their ending, if that makes sense.
right. Okay.
I Yeah, I'm really excited for you to read it, but I'm really excited for her to write more as well. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed. And I also last week I said that I was reading Anatomy and I finished it. I remember
You did.
I texted
Okay.
you last night and I'm like, I'm
Yeah,
trying to finish it
you're
before we
trying
record.
so hard.
I was really close to the end and I finished it. And I will say it took me about half the book to get into it.
I
Um,
hate
and
that.
it was really rough. And but I had and I said this to you. If Akatar taught me anything, it's to
Yeah.
not judge a book until you finish
These
it.
two, the Shatter
And
Me
so
series. I was
and
trying to DNF Shatter Me, and I'm so glad I didn't.
I'm glad I didn't. So I again I texted you already. I don't think that you can read it. There is a lot of blood.
Yeah.
And so, but general story is that there's a girl who um is in oh gosh, it doesn't say the timeline, but it's like years and years ago.
Hmm.
Like and it's like early days of surgery, I guess. And so she's this girl, she's like high society girl, but she really wants to be a surgeon. And so she ends up dressing as a man and trying to take this class and then gets found out, but then she, you know, is like she makes a wager with the professor and is like, well, if I can pass the exam, then, you know, you
You can
should
be a
let other
surgeon.
women, yeah, you should let other women into your courses in the future if they want to. And by twist of fate, she ends up being able to run like a kind of clinic out of the dungeon of her castle.
Hey.
So it's really cool, and there's like a twist that I kind of saw coming. I think a friend of mine had read it and said that she didn't see it coming, so I don't know, but I kind of guessed it, but it was still so there's like a little bit of a like fantasy element to it as well because of that
Mm.
this twist, but it's very very minor. So that's what I read, and I'm going to start this book. It's called The Empress Dowager. oh gosh, I'm Chinese. I should be able to say it, but it's Chushi, I think. And it's a biography about this. She was a concubine of one of the emperors, and um, she had one of his children, a son,
Uh-huh.
who, when he died, the son was 5 years old, and so the son succeeds him. He gets the throne, but obviously he's five,
Right.
so he can't run the kingdom, and so this woman, she launches a coup against her son's regents,
Hey,
and she places herself on the throne as his regent. And
sister,
the
yes.
I know, right? And the little tagline, she's the concubine who launched modern China, is what it says. So I'm excited. I don't normally read like nonfiction, but it's a biography about her, um, and just her rise to
Her
power,
life.
her life and whatnot. So, and I
That's really
and
cool.
and she was mentioned in another book that I had read, and then I saw this book on Heather's shelf, and I was like, mine. I will read
Yay.
that. So I'm gonna start that this week. It'll probably take me a bit because I nonfiction just takes me a while to get through. Um, but so those are my books, and then I already talked about a couple things I watched. I finished Pam and Tommy. Did you?
No, I've still got to. Josh keeps like falling asleep on me.
Oh no.
So I'll end up putting on stuff like I put on Queer Eye
Yeah.
the other night because he was asleep and I'm
Oh,
like, I don't
need
want to
some.
watch anything that, he's
he-
invested in.
Right, right. Yeah,
I need to add that to my homework too, because
yeah. I
maybe that
finished.
will be a good reason to finish it.
Yeah, I finished it, and I don't know how to feel. Well, we can talk about
Yeah.
it when you finish it. But
All right. We
yeah.
can talk about that next week.
And what other? I'm still watching Castle, but I also watched The Critics' Choice. I talked about last week how much I love award shows. So I watched The Critics' Choice, and that was fun. There was, I forget, there was a moment, I'm sure. There's always a moment where I scream at the TV, but I don't remember what it was this time. But it was fun. So that was my week in fangirling. How about you?
Ma'am, you
I
had
talked a
something
lot.
else. You saw something
Oh,
major this
I
week in
did.
fangirling.
I did. Sorry, it just happened yesterday, so I didn't get a chance to
Yeah.
write it in my book. I finally watched the Batman
Yeah.
yesterday. And it was fun, and I was texting Manny throughout the whole movie. And
Mhm.
before anybody gives me shit for this, let me explain. So this auditorium that we were in, the theater that we were in the very last row, which was what my daughter had asked for. She wanted to be in the very last row, which I was fine with because it's a movie. You can still see it from the last row.
That's my favorite row.
But the way that it's organized, the last row was in line with the projector booth. And so the projector booth is there. So that's like a little wall. And then there were four seats, which was the row that we were in. And then I'm sure there were other seats on the other side. And then there's a wall on the other side. So we're in the very back, kind of in our little own like conclave spot. So there's literally no way for anybody to see that my phone is out and lit up unless they're looking directly at me. Because
Right.
why would they do that? Because
Yeah.
they want to watch the movie. So my phone was on silent, and I spent the whole movie texting Mandy my reactions like live. And do we want spoiler alert
Yeah.
for
Spoiler
anybody?
alert.
So if
Just
you
go ahead
have
and look
not seen
away.
the Batman yet, maybe tune out for like the next 2 minutes or so.
Yeah.
But I near the end, when I heard Barry Keoghan's voice, I lost my mind.
Yes.
I
So,
text, oh my gosh, I lost
yeah.
it.
So I didn't notice his voice in the movie,
Hmm.
but like days later, my 14-year-old nephew texted me and he was like, I just looked up on IMDb because I was trying to see if there was an after credit scene. And did you know that Barry Keoghan, I probably butchered that Arkham unnamed Arkham prisoner, and he's got to be the Joker, right? And I tell you, my jaw hit the floor. I immediately text you. I didn't tell you,
Yeah,
but it
you
was
didn't tell
like,
me.
oh my God, something crazy.
Yes. Well, as soon as he started speaking, I was like, hold on a second.
Yeah.
That is my sweet baby Druid right there.
Yeah.
My sweet baby Druid in Arkham. This is what's happening. I lost my mind. And his name shows up in the credits,
Yeah. Yeah.
but not just in like the tiny list, like in the big bold
I
font before like the credits roll.
How I missed it, I don't know.
I
That's when I was telling Facebook, like, you've got to go see the Batman.
because I sat there and obviously I typically sit through the credits for any movie just because I feel like all these people worked on it, so I should give them some like respect.
Yeah.
So I sit through the credits, and so I was like, okay, I wonder if they like put his name in it because it's such like a
It's so
small
small that
space.
it could
It's
be
so small. Like
like
why? Yeah.
like the James Bond guy, I can't remember his name right off, who was a stormtrooper in one of the Star Warses, and they didn't
Oh,
credit him.
okay, okay.
He was filming on one sound stage,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
Star Wars was filming on another, and he was like, hey, I like Star Wars, and they were like, here, put on a stormtrooper suit and you can be a stormtrooper. And they
Yeah, yeah,
never
yeah.
credited him. It's just like something they talk about in articles
Right.
later.
Yeah, and so I was sitting there and I was like, I wonder if they're gonna like put him in the credits. And I was shocked because his name, it's not just in that like rolling list of credits. It is
It's
in the
big.
big bold font, like full screen, Barry Keoghan,
I
and it's
can't
just like
believe I can't believe I missed it.
the other thing when I was watching and I texted this to Mandy, I was like, ma'am, is this Ulysses Claw as Alfred?
Listen,
I was like, what?
I'm more triggered by the fact that Colin Farrell was Penguin.
Wait, what?
Okay, so you didn't notice this? I didn't either until I was looking at
What?
IMDb. Yes, that was Colin Farrell.
My God.
I never in my wildest imagination would have figured that out. But then when you consider his voice afterwards, you're like, yeah,
God. He was unrecognizable.
I know.
That's like when I was watching Loki and it's Morbius or not Morbius, Mobius. Mobius? Is that his name? Why am I not remembering his name?
Mobius.
Mobius, right?
Yeah.
What is wrong with me? I was like, I know it's Luke Wilson, but I or not Luke Wilson, Owen Wilson, the other
Owen.
one.
Yeah.
The other one. I know it's Owen Wilson, but I can't I can't put it together. Like watching him
Yeah.
on screen, I was like, I know he's in this, but where is he? Oh, he's right in front of me. Like it's
Yeah.
amazing. It's amazing the transformation these people go through. And I
Yeah.
love it. It's there's ugh. But yeah. And that moment, and I texted this to you as well, where they Batman and Gordon have Penguin and they have him like tied up or chained, like handcuffed, his hands and his
Uh-huh.
legs, and then they walk away and he's just
Starts
waddling after.
wondering.
I was laughing so hard I couldn't breathe. And
Like an actual penguin.
I looked around and nobody else was like moving, so they weren't laughing, and I just couldn't understand. I'm like, do you not understand how hilarious this is?
So what probably happened there is that everybody else in the theater are DC people who know, where we're like Marvel girls and we're like, oh my God, look at this is so funny. And they're like, yeah, that's how he walks. That's why they call him that.
I love it so
I
much.
was here for emo Bruce Wayne. My
It
husband
was
was like, he's not emo. He's supposed to be like a billionaire philanthropist. And I was like, no, that's Iron Man. Leave me alone. And he's like, no, well, he is supposed to be kind of a playboy and out in the open. And I'm like, well, I don't care. I want him to be emo. And here he is.
a TikTok from Jay Stoobs, where she was like, it actually makes a lot more sense for him to be like
Yeah.
an emo like virgin,
He
like
had a
not good,
horrific childhood.
awkward with the ladies. Like it doesn't make that much sense for him to be
Hot
like
shot.
the hotshot billionaire playboy. Like And I was like, you know what? I agree with this, and I like
Yeah.
this, especially now that I've seen the movie. I absolutely agree with it,
So do
and
you
he plays
agree
so well.
with me with my assumption or my assertion on episode 1 that that movie was made for the girls? That movie was for the female
Oh, that
gaze?
was absolutely, that movie was catered to the girls.
Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%. Can we talk about the Catwoman was queer on screen?
Yes.
100%. People are gonna argue about it till the
Gorgeous.
she
It
was
was like
a
chef's kiss. It was like chef's
100%.
kiss that they
It
made her
just
queer.
it is so clear, and people are gonna argue like, no, they were just roommates. No, bitch, he
Baby, no.
no. Are you crazy? No,
Did you
they
watch
were
the same
lovers.
movie we did? No.
Yeah, exactly. I texted you during I was like, did they just make Catwoman
Yep.
queer on screen? My little bi heart is so happy,
Yep.
so excited. I loved it. I loved
I
it
did too. I
so.
loved
It
every
was
second.
really,
It was so good.
I will say I was bored at times just because it felt like it dragged on so long.
See, Josh said that too.
I feel like they could have told the story like in a shorter time frame.
Yeah.
It just
I
there were
felt like
parts that it just
they
went
were
on
trying to
for a
build
while.
suspense.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So,
I also felt like at times I felt like there were just too many moving parts. There were like too many people, even though there
yeah.
weren't even that many people. I don't know what it was. Something just felt overwhelming to me.
So we talked about that too, about how a lot of people were mad at the casting because
Hmm.
it was all like white men, but I didn't feel that way because all except for Robert Pattinson and Alfred, all the white men were bad guys. So like,
It was I really I liked the fact that had the white men as the bad guys. Like
yeah,
normally the whole thing is like that I would be more outraged, I think, if they had exclusively had the people of color as the bad guys in this
exactly.
movie. Like you had that would have been just really icky. And the
And
fact that
it's more accurate to the current climate in that all of like the dirty politicians and dirty cops were skeevy white guys, skeevy old white
Mhm,
guys. Like that's
yes, yes,
historically accurate to now.
yes,
So
yes,
so
absolutely.
could the cast have been more diverse? Sure. But
But would I want it to be?
I don't know that I want it to be. You're right. Like,
I my you know what? I will say if the cast was more diverse, I would have loved to see Alfred as a person of color.
yes, that would have been cool.
I don't want to replace Robert Pattinson because I think he was perfect in the role, but I think
Right.
any of like the the mayor-elect was a woman of color, which was amazing.
Yes. Yep.
Catwoman is a woman of color, a queer. She was
Yeah.
queer on screen, which was really exciting. Alfred would have been it would have been really cool to have Alfred
Yeah.
as a person of
Who was
color. You had
the cop that befriended him though, that was helping him? I've forgotten his name now, but he was
the
a person of
one
color.
yeah, 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 the one, when he, like, breaks back into the penguins, like, before the bombs go off?
Well, like he was his buddy through the whole movie.
Oh, Gordon?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, I don't think of him because in my mind, he's Commissioner Gordon, but he's not in this movie.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, 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 James Gordon,
So
but also
he's a person of color.
he was a person of color, and I texted you, I was like, "If anything happens to this man, I will riot." And I don't know what it is. In every iteration I've seen of like James Gordon, Jim Gordon, I feel for him. I just want to protect him. I don't know
Yeah.
what it is. I'm just like, if anything happens to that man, I will lose it. But also if you remember, he breaks back into like the penguins, not I guess not breaks back, but he goes into the penguins apartment after he's like been put into jail or whatnot, and
uh,
he's looking through the evidence, and
the
there's
The Riddler's apartment.
oh, I'm sorry, yes, the
Yeah.
Riddler, yeah, and there's a cop who's like, hey, you can't be in here, and then they
They
have like
find the carpet.
they find the carpet stuff, but that cop was a person of color. He was I believe he was of Latin descent. So I
Yeah.
thought that was pretty cool too. So there were I mean there weren't that many main
There
characters,
weren't enough characters to make it
but I
insanely diverse. It all
but
movies could always be more diverse, but
absolutely.
I don't
But
feel like this movie failed in diversity
mhm,
because of the nature of the characters. I mean,
right.
you could change the way the penguin looks, but when you picture the penguin, you picture what you saw on
Right.
screen.
Right. So I think it was well done, and my only complaint was that it was a bit long. There were points that dragged, but
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it as the movie. And again, I lost my mind when I heard Barry Keoghan's voice.
I know that
I lost it. And now
because
I
he would be,
understand.
if it's Joker, he would be such a good Joker.
Listen, I would I dr- Barry Keoghan as
He
the
could do
Joker
anything.
would bring me into the DC world.
Yes,
I would
absolutely.
like I whew, that man, I love that
That's
man.
another example of the male gaze versus the female gaze. And I know that you don't agree with this example fully, but like I could not have cared any less about Icarus in the Eternals if I tried. Not attractive to me at all. But you put Druig in front of me, and it was like,
Mm.
yes,
See, here's the thing.
yes, sir.
Icarus I'm more interested in Richard Madden than I was in Icarus.
Yeah.
Icarus was kind of like to me, whatever. He was a character, but Richard Madden, I think, is. But Druid, sir, what was your week like? Other
My
than
week was pretty
Castile.
uneventful. I spent a lot of time with Castile Denier. I gave the book a 3 out of 5.
Ooh.
Um, I don't want. This is going to be kind of a spoiler-free review. I feel like it drug on and on and on. So it was the whole book was hurry up and wait. So it would be, we're going to wait forever. And then when there's supposed to be this big epic scene, it was kind of like, meh. Like she just threw some words on a page and then it was over. And then there was a big long wait again. And then there's a lot of drama on Book Talk surrounding this book. Um, a lot of people are accusing her of catering to, I guess she's got a Facebook group that
Mhm.
she's in where people have been asking for something for a long time. And I don't really understand the drama because I feel like the entire fandom has been waiting for something to happen. Um, and again, I don't want to give away spoilers, but a lot of people are like ripping her apart for that. My bigger issue, and the reason I gave it 3 stars, other than the hurry up and wait, the writing did feel kind of rushed. And I found a lot of typos
Mhm.
where to me, if you like with an indie published book, I will forgive any typo
Mhm.
because that is 1, 2, maybe 3 people, and then
Right.
maybe a small arc or beta team. Someone like Jennifer L. Armentrout, who is traditionally published, has a publishing house
Mhm.
editing for her. So for me, there's less excuse for typos. And when she wrote a book that's like a companion series to this, I guess. It's a prequel series. There was a typo literally on the back cover, and people were like buying it in the store with typos on the back cover. And to me, I really am trying not to be like as much of a grammar Nazi and like a snob about stuff like this anymore
Mhm.
in like the world, because I feel
Right.
like it's kind of classicist to be that way.
Mhm.
Um, but if you're a traditionally published author who has no end in sight when it comes to an editing team, I have less of a reason to give you an excuse
Mhm.
for
It's
your
really
typos.
interesting that you this is the From Blood and Ash series, right?
Right. This was the fourth
So
book.
so it's really interesting that you say that because a friend of mine was telling me, I think I can't remember what the context was, but we were talking about From Blood and Ash, and she was saying how it was good, but it was sorely in need of an editor.
Yes.
And
It
so
was
it's
either this one or the an M oh
it was a
my
while ago.
gosh.
It was before this week.
Shadow
So it
in
was
the Ember.
yeah, so
Shadow
it
in
was
the Ember.
before the War of Two Queens came out, and she was like, it's good, but you can tell she kind of just needs an editor
Yeah.
because, and I was like, oh, that sounds strange. Um,
Yeah.
and it's actually funny that you mentioned that this week too, because in the book that I read, Anatomy, there were some like typos in there as well, where I was like, is that
Yeah.
well, so there's this one part. So when she pretends to be a man, she adopts the name George Hazelton. And her name is Hazel. So, and her brother's who passed away, his name was George. So it kind of made
Mhm.
sense. It was just kind of playing off their names. But every time that I would see the name, it would be spelled differently. And I
See,
was like, and at first I was like, maybe it was done on purpose, but there was no rhyme or reason to it. Like,
yeah.
she's not writing it down or like, is it because the way that so Hazel is spelled Hazel.
Mhm.
And so Hazleton you would think is Hazelton.
TON.
And that's how, I would expect it to be spelled. But the first time it comes up, it's spelled Hazleton. And so I was
Hmm.
like, and so I was like, oh, so when I
Maybe
first
she
read it, I
flipped
was
it
like,
around
maybe it's
to
like Hazelton or something, like
yeah.
she tried to make it, but then it came up later and it was spelled the way that I expected. And I'm like, oh no, this is supposed to be Hazelton.
Just went
So
back and
why is it?
forth.
It was very confusing. And I was like, and
Yeah.
that wasn't the only thing. There were other like typos that I noticed too. So it's interesting that we both kind of
Yeah.
read books that had that were like noticeable. Like, and it wasn't just like grammatical things, like a missed comma here or something.
Yeah.
Like it was misspellings
Yeah.
and
And
or like,
extra words that
yeah.
there were several times in this book where I had to read a sentence multiple times to figure out what exactly they were what
Mhm.
exactly she was trying to say because it just was I don't know, it was bizarre. It was
Yeah.
bizarre.
Yeah. It's interesting.
But I mean it was a good the story was good. Um if Goodreads allowed half stars, I would have given it a 3.5. But
Yeah.
eh, I mean I'm
I
glad I
will
read
say
it.
hung out with
But
your boyfriend.
yeah, I mean if I'm with Castile, it's a good time. And
Yeah.
the Thigh Dagger quote, like I've got the biggest head right now because Castile said that thigh daggers were wildly arousing, and I'm like, got my
I
thigh
win.
dagger.
And it's so I
Um,
will say for Chloe Gong's duology, These Violent Delights and Our Violent Ends, I listened to them on audiobook. I didn't read the books, and I'm actually really, really glad that I did. Because there are and this is just kind of like a heads up, but there are she uses words in different languages because the characters speak multiple different languages. So there's like Shanghainese, there's Russian, there's French, there's all kinds of different languages. And so it was really nice to have somebody else read it to me so that I didn't
right.
have to like butcher these things in my head. Um, and especially because Juliet's last name is Tsai, and it's actually spelled Cai. So I never would have pronounced
No,
it correctly, even and I'm Chinese. I wouldn't have
right.
even pronounced it correctly. So it was really nice to have somebody else read it to me.
Yeah,
So I would recommend listening to it on audiobook instead of actually reading it. Though I
I'm
will
with
end
you
up
on
buying
that.
the books. I will end up buying the
Um,
books.
that's how Firekeeper's Daughter was too,
Mhm.
because it's about an indigenous
Right.
tribe of people, and so they have their native language that they still uphold and they still try to speak.
Yeah.
And so it was cool reading the audiobook. I kind of did both. When
Yeah.
I finished via the actual book because I can read faster than the audiobook. But
Right.
most of it was on the audiobook while I was driving and hearing how to pronounce some of these words that I would have totally butchered.
Yeah.
made it easier to finish because by then I knew
Right.
how to pronounce things. So yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
So I audiobooks are a treasure. Oh my goodness.
Okay, so aside from the War of Two Queens and the drama surrounding it,
Mhm.
I was devastated Friday night because I went to go watch more episodes of Mrs. Maisel, and
Mhm.
the season is over. They put out 2 episodes a week for 4 weeks, and I just wasn't thinking about the
Oh
fact that it was
no.
8 weeks. So I was like looking for more, and it's not there.
Oh.
I started. I haven't gotten very far at all, but I started All Us Villains by
Mhm.
Amanda Foody and Christine Lynn Herman. I'm very excited about this.
It looks interesting.
And this is nerdy, but I mean, here we are on the Incoherent Fangirl. Um, Friday evening, it was really gross and rainy here. We didn't really feel like doing anything. So Josh was here playing a video game. He's really into Elden Ring right now. My nieces were doing their own thing. So I put in my War of Two Queens audiobook and I started playing The Sims again. So I'm back into my geeky Sims world. I
Love that.
decorated an entire house and then it crashed and did not save any of it.
Oh no.
It didn't even tell me it crashed. I saved it, I closed it, I went to move a family into it, and none of my stuff was there. It's like, what? I was
Oh
upset.
no.
It's
That's
okay
so
though. I'll
rude.
redo it.
That's
I
so
like
rude.
building and decorating far more than I like actually like gameplay. So,
Yeah, I probably would be the same way. I've never played The Sims, but I
oh my
probably would be the same
God.
way.
I was just like, I had 2 really good friends in middle school, and we would write stories. I thought about it because there was a tweet about Turning Red
Hmm.
that said people are coming after it because 13-year-old girls aren't like that. And it's like the tweet said, excuse me, when I was 13, I wrote a story about how Legolas came and fell in love with me. And then we traveled to Middle Earth where Aragorn also fell in love with me. So yes, 13-year-old girls are cringe, but we are legion. I wrote so many stories about Ashley Parker Angel from O-Town falling in love with me. And then I had so many Sim families in middle school. So
Turning
I was
Red was just peak adolescence.
It really was.
It was
That
the
is exactly.
most accurate portrayal of 13-year-old girls I've ever seen in my life.
Yes.
That was
And so
and
thinking about those days of my life, it was writing stories and The Sims. And so I read that and it was like, all right, well, I'm gonna have to play The Sims again.
that's I
I
love
had
that.
re-downloaded The Sims at the beginning of like COVID
Hmm.
shutdown,
Hmm.
just because like it was during the time where like you didn't leave your house. You're
Right,
supposed to stay in. We don't know what's going on. And so
right.
I ordered a laptop from Best Buy and I downloaded The Sims on it, and that was my Sims laptop, and then it's been kind of sitting there collecting dust. So I restarted The Sims.
That's fun though.
That's been my week. I really did. I wasn't able to watch Fresh because I unexpectedly had 2 13-year-olds who needed a lot more of my attention than I've been giving to anybody in the past few weeks that they haven't been here. I
Yeah,
will get to it though, I promise.
you better. I want to talk about it.
I know, I'm
I want to
sorry.
talk about it. It's okay. It's okay. You have so much homework now though.
I know, I really do.
I don't have any. I've done my homework. Teacher, give me more homework.
The 2005 Pride and Prejudice, the hand
2005.
flex, the Keira Knightley
2005.
Pride and
All
Prejudice.
right. All right.
You're
I
gonna
will
leave
watch it.
Colin Firth in the dust.
Oh, but he made such his faces.
Okay. Did
He
he
made
have the
such
chest hair and the hand flex? No,
he made
he
such
does not.
beautiful faces at her. It was so
Just wait.
lovely. Okay. All
Just
right,
wait.
2005, Keira Knightley, Pride and Prejudice. It's
Yep.
been on my list since it came out.
Oh,
I just never got around to watching it. I don't know.
it makes me want to rewatch it just talking about it.
I just I just think of Mr. Darcy and I'm like, your family sucks, but hey, I want to marry you. I'm like,
Yeah,
sure,
like I'll take you, I'll
but
keep you.
oh my goodness. All right, we went a little off the
Yeah, we
rails
did
there.
always
It's okay.
incoherently.
It's okay. But this week, where did my money go?
Where'd
Where
your
did
money go, Karen?
Oh God. Well, first of all, can I just say I got a little
Oh.
Hawkeye Funko Pop. It's the one, there is a uh it's like a combo pack. So it's got Hawkeye and Spider-Man from Civil War and then two keychains. I think it's Cap and Iron Man.
Mhm.
But I only wanted I just wanted Clint. So I
He's so
just found he's
cute.
so cute. And his head it was funny. I got a Bucky Pop a while back and I took it out of the box and I was texting a friend of ours um and I was like his head bobbles and I can ask him questions and she was like, "Did you ask him to marry you?" And I was like, "Yeah." Of course I did. Question stand. But yeah, all the Marvel Pops have bobbleheads. There's some sort of licensing thing where they have to like be bobbleheads. I
I
don't know if
didn't know
you
that.
Yeah, all of the Marvel Pops, they have to have bobbleheads. They can't have the like stationary heads.
That's
So,
weird.
yeah, I forget there's something about like I think it's a licensing thing. Like I don't know. Somebody explained it
Huh.
to me once, but yeah, so if you ever notice, all of the Marvel Funko
I've
Pops will
never
have
noticed.
bobbly heads.
Weird.
Yeah, but it makes for good. You can ask them questions like, "Hey,
Yeah,
Clint, do you
true
want to be
that.
my best friend?"
Do you know what my brother did to me one time? My youngest brother.
Hmm.
It was right after Infinity War came out. He
Hmm.
came over and he was like, "I have a gift for you." And I was like, "Okay." Now we've talked about how like I'm a Loki girl. I love Loki, but Spider-Man is like my
Right.
lifetime where my heart has been in Spider-Man since I was little.
Hmm.
He brought me a Funko box. It's a Spider-Man Funko box, but in it he had taken out the pop and just filled it with dirt because
What
Spider-Man got dusted. Terrible. I
Oh
cried. I was like, Logan, this is horrible. Yeah.
no!
Yeah. Awful.
I don't like that. We're gonna talk about happy things now.
Yeah. Show me
Like
where else your money went.
my money
Tell me
went
where else your money went.
to uh, Here Comes the Nerd.
Hey, so did mine. All right. What do you have?
So she did a Pop Shop Live event um recently. I forget what the theme was, but she did a Pop Shop Live event. And so these are all I think only like three of these are for me. So it's a stained glass Beauty and the Beast with the music. It's screen printed. It's Tale as Old as Time. And it's really pretty. And then a little Shadow Heartless. This was she said it was the first like pin that she made.
Oh,
And so I was like, well, I don't own it and I don't collect this, but I have to own the very first one you've ever made. And then
right.
a little Miko with his little biscuit.
Cutie.
And then my daughter was watching with me and she was like, "Mommy, I want this," and I was like, "Okay, fine." And I use Joanna's pins and stickers as bribes um with my
Hey,
daughter.
smart.
So so anytime like I tell her like you have to do this and then you can get a pin and she does it and she gets a pin and she gets to choose. So I have a whole like little bin of just pins for her to choose from.
I
But
love it.
but so we've got the little Kitsune, we've got the 10th Dr. Doggo, Luna with her lion head, and then her little revamped Niffler who is so freaking
Oh,
cute. You can't see it, but he's got a little like dollar sign bling bling hair and it's glittery. It's
oh,
very cute. And I also got stickers.
oh, you got a
Lots of
ton of stickers.
lots of stickers. So they're very cute. We've got a little mini Bruni, mini Pascal, mini Zero, mini Stitch,
Stitch.
Wicket, and then Captain Kitty. And these are all, I believe these are all Pop Shop Live exclusive stickers, so they will not be dropping on her website. So you have to follow her on Pop Shop Live. Use code
Yeah,
NERDY when you sign up. Nerdy with two Y's, and you can get exclusive stickers. And speaking of
cute.
Here Comes the Nerd, um, the Patreon for April is coming up, and it's going to be Tigger and Leia. And I don't know if you've seen the pictures, but they're so freaking cute. So if anybody wants to get a cute little Tigger or a cute little Leia enamel pin from Here Comes the Nerd, sign up before April 1st. March 31st is the last day to sign up.
Yep. You don't have too
And
much longer.
you don't have too much longer, so sign up for that because you don't want to miss out on the cuteness. It's at patreon.com/here comes the nerd.
Woohoo.
And that, oh, and I have one more thing that I got this week, and I didn't technically my money didn't go to it, I guess, but it's pre-order goodies for another book that I pre-ordered.
Hey, cool.
So this is for the book that I am looking forward to at the end of the month. It's called A Forgery of Roses by Jessica S. Olson. So there are these two prints. There is a signed book plate. There is character cards. And then this
Hey, that's cool.
gorgeous little, like, shiny little bookmark with the quote on the back. It's very pretty. So I'm very excited about that.
Very cute.
Did I get anything else? I got some stuff from Grimoire Tea, but I put that away already, so. But I'm always getting stuff from Grimoire Tea because that's just who I
Same.
am as a person. So
Same.
that's where my money went. Where did your money go this week?
Well, I didn't spend a lot this week because I had a glasses exam and had to
Mm.
had to pay for new glasses. They're not here yet,
Boo.
but so a lot
So
of my
that's where
money
your
went
money went.
to my eyes. But
Those are important though. Those are important.
yeah, my eye doctor is right next to Barnes and Noble though. So of course I walked over
Of course.
to
As one
my
does.
brother. I have a brother named Josh too. My brother Josh works there. So I was like, well, I'll go see if he's working. He wasn't, but I found the banned book table and I was like, I can't leave without a banned book.
Yeah.
So I got Last Night at the Telegraph Club by Melinda Lowe.
Ooh.
Emily XR Pan wrote the little review on the front.
I love
I
her.
have I know you do. I literally have zero idea what this book is about, but I'll read you the back of it because
It looks
I
pretty.
didn't read the back of it. I just saw one and grabbed it. And I saw Emily X. Pan's name on it. So I was like, all right. Lily Who can't remember exactly when the question took root, but the answer was clear at the moment she and Kath Miller walked under the neon sign of a lesbian bar called the Telegraph Club. America in 1954 is not a safe place for two girls to fall in love. Red Scare paranoia threatens everyone, including Chinese Americans like Lily. With deportation looming over her father, Lily and Kath risk everything for love.
I want it.
I will read it soon and I will let you know.
Everything that I need in a book. Chinese
Yeah.
American and queer. I'm in. It's me.
Yeah. So because most of the other ones were books that I either already have or have already read, like The Great Gatsby was there, 1984, all the ones you know. But this one, so I snatched it up and I saw this little sticker that says buy one, get one half off. So I'm walking around the store and I find that Legendborn also has that sticker.
Ooh.
And I've been dying to read Legendborn. So I know I don't really know much about what Legendborn is either, but I know it's like a fantasy novel and it has our main character is a person of color.
Yes,
which
we love that.
We don't have enough of in the fantasy genre. And I have seen so many people who in their reviews on Book Talk, they don't really even say what it's about. They're just like, trust me, you have to read this.
Ooh, okay.
So I'm
like
going to
that.
read this. So just looking at the back, looks like it's about a 16-year-old whose mother dies. She accepts a I guess entrance into a program at UNC Chapel Hill to kind of get away from her life, but then there's a magical attack on her first night of campus and it kind of things go from there. And she kind of it seems like somebody's coming to try and wipe her memory of what she saw and chaos ensues. It looks like it's going to be kind of long because this looks like it's 500 pages ish, but the text is tiny.
Oh,
but that's good. I love a long book, so I'm very excited about this.
The night the stars fell was long.
Yeah,
and it
Those
was
long,
phenomenal. So
but so worth it. So
I'm
those were
I'm in. All right.
my purchases at Barnes and Noble.
Yes.
And then I also went shopping at Here Comes the Nerd. So I got a Bat Boys notepad
Yes. I
just
love the
because
notepads.
I love them. And then I got the Phineas, Ezra, and Gus Hitchhiking Ghosts. I
Yeah.
got identity blah, blah, blah. I got identity theft is not a joke, Jim. And then I got Cassian and Azrael.
Oh,
So,
exciting.
so
The
yeah, if you
ghosts,
want some
did
Here
you know
Comes
the
the
ghosts
Nerd.
glow in the dark?
No, I didn't.
They do.
I need to
You'll
go
have
look
to
at them.
you'll have to. Yeah, they glow in the dark.
And yeah, if you want some Here Comes the Nerd pins, go to herecomesthenerd.com. And if you use code Fangirl, you'll get 20% off your first order.
Yay! We
Yay!
love Here
We have a
Comes the Nerd here.
sponsor.
We do. We love our sponsor.
Yes,
She's
we
so sweet.
do.
She did a Twitch stream this past week, and I missed the first part of it because my computer was not having any of it. Twitch was against me that day.
Yeah.
And I went back and rewatched it, and it was just all she was just talking about us, and I was like, oh, we
Oh, I
love
love
you.
her.
We
I love
love
her.
her. Yes, we love her. So yay, that's fun. I
All
don't
right.
think either of us
I'm
spent too much money this week, so that's exciting.
well, again, I bought glasses and I bought prescription sunglasses. So my
All right.
wallet felt
Felt the pain.
heard this week. All right,
All
I'm
right.
nervous about
Let's talk
oh well,
about next week.
we gotta talk about
Let's
what we're
talk about
anticipating. That's
yeah,
right.
let's talk about what we're
I'm
looking forward
jumping the
to
gun.
next week. You're jumping the gun. So next week is a big week for me. I don't know about you, but so there is a movie coming out on the 25th called hold on, I want to get it right because it's a title.
I
It's a title and I didn't write it down. Everything Everywhere All at Once.
feel like
Um,
I've heard of that.
I don't know what it's about because I went on Wikipedia and there's no like plot description.
Synopsis? Huh.
Yeah, there's no synopsis. But the Russo brothers are producing it, among other people. Among other people that are in it is Michelle Yeoh, who I love. And she's the main character, and it is there are a lot of AAPI names associated with it, including Jennifer Sue and Harry Shum Jr. And so the poster looks so trippy. I'm really excited to see what it's all about. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
I literally know
That
nothing about it.
that's
I
how I am
saw
with Legendborn.
yeah, I think it was Harry Shum Jr. posted the poster on Instagram, and I looked at it and I immediately said, "Yes, I am in. I'm in." I added it to my
Yeah.
list. So that is premiering on the 25th. On the 27th, the Oscars are happening, and as I have said already, I love award shows. So, and that is a Sunday. So, after we record, I'm going to be immediately turning on the TV and watching all of the pre-show shit because that is who I am as a person. I'm so
Yeah.
excited. I love the Oscars. I love award shows just in general. I don't know
Yeah.
why. I just love it. Um, let's see, what else do I have on my list? I am still waiting, and it's almost time. A Magic Steeped in Poison by Judy Eileen and A Forgery of Roses by Jessica S. Olson both drop on the 29th. Moon Knight drops on the 30th. And Morbius comes out on the 1st. And I got my tickets yesterday when I was going to see the Batman. So unfortunately, I'm going to that alone. My child is very, very afraid to watch Morbius.
Yeah.
She saw that we've seen the trailers and every movie we've watched recently, and she's just like, nope, nope. I asked her
No,
to, and I'm like,
got
are
no
you gonna
need to
come with
that
me?
one.
And she was like, nope. And I'm like, okay, do not complain to me when I leave you
Yep.
at home and I go see a
Yeah.
movie. So that's what I'm looking forward to in the next week.
I really don't have anything in the next week, but I do want to go ahead and start talking about and getting everybody hyped for Scar's Alex story by Amber D.
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes, that comes out in April.
Yes, it comes out April 12th. I was lucky enough to get an arc, so I have read it. It is wonderful. First of all, if you have not read The Night the Stars Fell, which is the first book in the Fire and Starlight saga by Amber D. Lewis, you are doing yourself a disservice. It is
Please go
so
read it.
good. It is so good. Please go read it. It's on Amazon. You can, I think she says anywhere you buy books now, you can get
You
it.
can get
You can
a
go to her.
signed copy on her
Yeah, you can
website,
get a signed copy on
amberdlewis.com.
amberdlewis.com. She'll sign it and ship it out to you. There's Kindle versions. You can go ahead and pre-order Alex's story. And then the next book is coming in, I think August-ish, and I am just dying. I was worried, and I won't give away spoilers because I want everyone to go read it, but Alec has a pretty heartbreaking backstory, and I was afraid because there are some things that is discussed about Alec in The Night the Stars Fell, and it makes you nervous of, am I going to love him less?
Yeah.
Hearing about his part in these things.
Mm-hmm.
And I just loved him more. And I want everyone to go read this series. I'm so excited about it. It is, a lot of times people have this bias against indie published books that they're not going to be as good. I know, I am certain that this series is going to be huge.
Yes.
Like, I can see TV shows and movies. I can see, I can see a big publishing house coming and snatching her up because she's just such a good writer.
I want to put it out there into the world. Amber is actually a friend of ours. And I'm going to put it out in the world. I don't know if she listens to the podcast. I haven't seen her talking about it, but I want Amber on our show. I want to talk to her about this. I want to talk to her about her writing process. I want to talk to her about the story. I want to talk to her about just everything. And I can't wait until we can get her to talk with us, because she is a phenomenal writer, and I'm very excited for what's to come.
And I will go ahead and let everybody know, if you read The Night the Stars Fell or Alec's story, or ideally both once Alec's story comes out, I do have a Facebook group. It's called Felix's Friends. Felix is a character that you'll meet in The Night the Stars Fell, who is just precious. And so I admin that group where we just kind of fangirl out to anything Amber does. She has a Patreon that you can join. I'm sure it's patreon.com/Amber D. Lewis. She puts out sneak peeks and behind the scenes things and art. Sometimes she'll even put out like scenes from an alternate point of view from the book. So there have been, I think, 2 scenes that we've gotten from another character's standpoint that I don't know how I've lived without until I got them. Like, so good. So yeah, check out Amber. You can follow her on Facebook, and you can follow on her website. She's got a mailing list. We're big fans around here.
We're big fans. We're big fans of Amber D. Lewis. Remember her name, because you're gonna know her.
You're gonna see it a lot more later, and I'm never gonna shut up about her.
So that's what we're looking forward to. And actually, speaking of April, I already mentioned it once this podcast, but Here Comes the Nerd. April Patreon is coming up. So sign up before April 1st to get your very own Tigger pin and sticker set, or your very own Princess Leia pin and sticker set. They're both freaking cute. The space buns that she drew on Leia.
I can imagine.
I can't even. I squealed so hard when I first saw them. Yes. Here Comes the Nerd. No, I'm sorry. That is the wrong email website. Patreon.com/Here Comes the Nerd. There we go. That's where you can get her. All right, Mandy.
I don't know if I'm ready. I'm scared. again.
I, I feel like this time you might agree with me, and this
Okay.
is an opinion that I hold. And I don't I feel like this shouldn't be a controversial topic, but I'm on brand. I'm wearing my Soviet crop top from Elhofer Design in honor of my dear sweet Bucky. And so this is my opinion this week. And I feel like you're gonna agree with me. Don't be scared.
Okay.
The scene in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier where Bucky is free in Wakanda, that should have earned Sebastian Stan an Emmy, at least an Emmy nomination over Don Cheadle's Emmy nomination for
Yeah.
his like less than 2 minutes in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I'm kind of offended that anybody other than Anthony Mackie or Sebastian Stan would get an Oscar nod.
Oh,
I mean,
and
Emmy
and
nod. Emmy nod.
yeah,
Sorry.
I don't. Neither of them were nominated for their performances in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I feel like that's a crime against the world
I
because
agree.
they were phenomenal. And especially as soon as I saw that scene in Wakanda where you see Bucky realize that he's free from his trigger words, the performance there, that scene alone earns
Yeah.
everything in my mind. In my
Yeah.
mind, that scene alone earns Sebastian Stan all the accolades because it just it's heartbreaking.
It
You
gets
can
you in your
see him.
guts.
You can legitimately see him. He's working through his trauma. He's releasing it, and it's just that performance was somehow not nominated for an Emmy.
I don't even remember Don Cheadle being there.
Don Cheadle was in the very first episode at the museum when Sam gives up the shield.
That's right. And that
He
got an
and
Emmy
I
nomination?
I went through after the Emmy nominations came out. I went through and I recorded or I screen grabbed his entire performance in the series. It's just that one scene, and it's literally I think less than like 2 minutes. He's less than 2 minutes of screen time.
I'm kind of offended.
I and it's funny because Don Cheadle tweeted, he was like, I don't understand it either. Because he's not, I don't think he does anything like don't get me wrong, I love Don Cheadle. I think he's a phenomenal actor and he did what he had to do, but to get an Emmy for that and not have either of the leads earn anything?
It's like
That
giving
was
Barry Keoghan an Oscar for his performance in The Batman. Like,
yeah.
why?
Yeah, and I
That is
don't
kind of
understand it.
disrespectful.
It is. I feel like it's
I'm
extremely
with you.
disrespectful. So yeah, I really I think that Sebastian's, and I said it. I said it when that episode came out. I said it when that scene happened. I said Sebastian Stan is going to earn an award for that performance and
Yeah.
that performance alone. And nothing. And I am still bitter about it a year later.
I need to rewatch The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I only watched it the once, and this might be upsetting, but it was my least favorite of the three.
I
Obviously, I had to like Loki the most. And then
I
WandaVision was so freaking good.
WandaVision was a cultural moment in time,
Yeah.
and we will never experience something like that again. WandaVision was, and there are issues with it that, people, there are legitimate arguments, but WandaVision was just such a moment for just the world.
Yeah.
I feel like even people who were not Marvel fans who watched WandaVision were sucked in, like
Yeah.
it was just so quirky. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and going into it, I had no idea what was going to happen.
No?
I was like, how are we having Wanda and Vision? It made no
Yeah.
sense. And so WandaVision was phenomenal. Um, I will say we're gonna disagree. I was a bit underwhelmed with Loki.
Listen,
I
listen.
I really I liked it. And there were moments where I was just like, "Excuse me? What just happened?"
When they had that man with his sleeves rolled up do that like muscular, like he's not even really that muscular, but he like crosses his arms and then pulls them out and pushes his chest forward to lift a freaking building.
And
I
that,
just
you
awakened
know,
something. It was primal.
but and this might just be because I am a person of color, which is where we differ greatly,
Mhm.
obviously.
Yeah,
But it was such I feel like The Falcon and the Winter Soldier was such an important show. And
that's true.
it was very important, and it was, Sam's speech there at the end
Yeah.
had just had me. And I feel like it was, and I will say, however, and as somebody who is in love with Sebastian Stan, I will say, however, I don't I love the buddy cop aspect of Sam and Bucky,
Yeah.
but I do feel like Bucky in the series, he just kind of overshadows Sam's moment, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like after the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, you've got all these people simping for Bucky, and it's like I mean, yeah, Bucky's a big part of it. He's a big part of the show, but it's also like Sam is a
Sam's
black
there.
man
Yeah.
becoming Captain America.
Yeah.
Like, this is a big
You
moment,
know
and
what?
it
That's
needs to be the
right.
moment. And that's that performance there at the end where he
Mhm.
has that speech. It's just, Anthony Mackie, sir, you deserve so much more than you have been
Everything.
giving.
Yeah.
You deserve so much more than you have been given. And that's actually something that has been brought up in terms of Captain America 4. Um People are saying they don't want Bucky in it, and I tend to agree.
Yeah. Or if he's
I
in it, it needs to be very minimal, like it was in the first Captain America, where he's,
Right, right.
the
I
buddy and then he's not there.
Yeah, right.
Right? He's not there.
We don't, well, he's there, and then he gets
He goes
kidnapped.
off.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah,
I wouldn't call him like a major player in the first
yeah,
movie, right?
right. Well, and then Sebastian Stan's screen time across the MCU was like, I feel like somebody timed it, and it was less than like 2 hours or something of
Total.
actual screen time total before Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Um, and I feel like, I love Sebastian Stan, and I love Bucky, but I tend to agree that Sam needs to have his solo moment as
Yeah.
Captain America. And I feel like if
That's not
you
something that
have,
should just be glossed over.
right, right. And um so yeah, I feel like Captain America 4 should be more Sam. It doesn't necessarily need to include Bucky, which is, hard for me to say
Yeah.
because I love Bucky. Um,
I do remember screaming at the TV when he was giving away the shield or giving up the shield, because it was like, you know what they're going to do. This is the government. They're
yep.
immediately going to take advantage.
And that do you remember during that scene, the little microaggression where he was like, this was the right thing to do, or this is the right thing to do, or thanks for doing the right thing, or whatever, like giving up the shield to put in the Smithsonian. Like, it was so aggressive. It's so aggressive. It's like, what do you mean
Yeah.
this was the right thing to do? No. Captain
No.
America passed this on to Sam
To
Wilson for a
you.
reason.
To
And
you.
you know what? I'm gonna give you a bonus for this freestyle because I want to say I think Sam Wilson as Captain America in the short time that he has been Captain America has been a better Captain America than Steve Rogers' entire time in the MCU.
I'm going to agree with that, because I can't
I
stand Steve Rogers. I can't
Listen,
stand
I
him.
I appreciate, I love Chris Evans. I love Captain America, but what has he done? What has he done?
He's had a golly gee willikers attitude,
He
and
lied his
that's it.
way into the army.
Yep.
He got his best friend, taken by Hydra. He he destroyed quite a bit of American property,
Mm-hmm.
dismantled Shield. He, he gave up after Infinity War. He just gave up. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, yeah, he decided to be like a therapist to people, but you know what? That was Sam's shtick.
Yeah. I
Sa-
can't stand
Sam
him.
Sam Wilson as Captain America has been a better Captain America in the short time that
Yeah.
we see him than Steve Rogers was in the entirety of the MCU. Sorry,
I've
I said what I said.
always been like the tall, dark, mysterious type. And so it's just, and I like refer to that and to him in any time there's like a blonde with a high and tight haircut who's just, the actual hero that they want you to fall for. It's like, no,
Yeah,
thank you. I don't need Captain America to come over here. Like, keep Steve
no,
Rogers away from me. I can't stand him.
yeah.
Ugh.
Sam
Wally Cleaver energy, and I'm not here for it.
Sam is
Or
such a
Beaver Cleaver.
good person, and he is
Yeah.
so he's going to be such a good Captain America, and I can't wait to see it. I'm here for it. I am ready for people to simp over Sam Wilson. Please,
Yeah.
please,
Yeah.
people. This man deserves all your due. That is Captain America right here.
Yeah. I would,
And you know what?
yeah.
Listen, that man has America's ass.
Hey, yes, absolutely.
So I love Sebastian Stan, but Anthony Mackie,
Don't
I
sleep
am
on him.
don't no, girl, no. Anthony Mackie is just mm,
So related but not, um, because we've got someone taking up the mantle of Captain America.
hmm
What do you think is going to happen? And this is going completely off track, but it's
It's okay.
freestyle for a
That's
reason.
who we yeah.
Who's taking up the Black Panther? Because I would love it to be M'Baku. If it's not Shuri, I
Okay.
think it should be
So
Shuri. But if it's
I
not, I'd love M'Baku.
I have mixed feelings on this, and I will explain. So my first choice was and always has been Shuri
Yeah.
because first of all, she's blood. She's part of the
Hmm.
bloodline.
And she's brilliant.
She's a genius.
Yeah.
She could do great things. However, Tisha Wright,
She's so problematic.
she is so problematic. And to have Letitia Wright around people like Angela Bassett and Lupita Nyong'o and just
Yeah.
and Denai Guerrera, and just
And
I
staining Chadwick
and
Boseman's
staining.
franchise.
Can you just can we just talk about the fact that if Chadwick was still alive right now, still in his battle, Letitia Wright would have been putting him in massive danger.
Yeah.
And I have I
Yeah.
just
No
mm.
respect for
And
the actress.
I I wanted Shuri to be Black Panther. Could you
Yeah.
imagine?
I mean,
Just
they could
imagine.
recast her.
They
They could,
could. They
it
could.
would, it would be difficult, but
It would be hard, like
Shuri would be the ideal.
I think Shuri would be the ideal person to take up Black Panther because just imagine our little black girls seeing her
Yes.
on screen. It gets me teary-eyed just thinking
Yeah.
about it. Like just uh
Yeah.
I would have loved that. But oh God, I'm gonna cry now because it gets me so emotional when I think about it. And it's the same thing that happened when like Shang-Chi came out and I was just like, oh God,
Yeah.
okay, hold on. I need a I'm like straight up crying. Oh my goodness. But I Shuri would have been the ideal. But I agree. I think Maku would be. And did you see that they renegotiated Winston Duke's contract?
No.
Yeah, they
So that may be promising.
at some point they renegotiated Winston Duke's contract because he was going to have a bigger role than they had previously expected. Um,
Oh,
so that would be really exciting. I love Winston Duke. I
yeah,
think yeah, he would be great as Black Panther. Um, Another choice that I have seen nobody talk about, but I would really kind of enjoy, would be oh my God, what is her name? Nakia.
yeah.
I
I
think
don't
I
know that
would
she would.
I don't think she would, but I feel like she would do it justice. I feel like Nakia would, if something were to happen to T'Challa, and like, and if somehow Nakia was the one who was chosen, um, I don't think she would want to, but I think she would be like, well, to honor him, to take this up and to do as he's done and to do it better.
Yeah,
And she is the one, she's the one who convinced him, let's open up Wakanda, you
right.
know?
Let everybody in.
So she's, I mean, she's part of that Black Panther legacy. So I would be interested to I'm interested to see what ends up
So
happening.
I'm with you. This is one that I don't like, but that has been like a recurring one that I've seen is people want them to bring back
Oh,
Killmonger.
Killmonger.
I would love nothing more than to see more Michael B. Jordan because that
I
man is scrumdiddlicious. But
to quote your niece.
yeah, to quote my niece, he's scrumdiddlicious. But he had his moment. The Killmonger story had to go the way it did.
Okay, I have a counter argument.
Okay.
I agree. The Killmonger story had to go the way it did, and Killmonger is now dead. So how
Mhm.
does he
How do you
become
bring
the
him
next?
back?
However, we have the multiverse now. The multiverse exists.
Yeah.
I would love to see a version of Killmonger where he he lived and grew up in Wakanda.
That, yeah.
I
See
could
how
see I could
it
see that.
changed him.
I could see if it were to be Killmonger as Black Panther, I could see them doing it as something like that, where it's
A variant.
a variant
Hmm.
version where he grew up in Wakanda, like
And
whatever
doesn't
happened.
have that bitterness.
Yeah, his dad wasn't, killed. That he wasn't, he didn't end up being like the bad guy and all of that. I would be interested to see that. It wouldn't be my first choice, but if they did
No.
bring back Killmonger as Black Panther, that would be the ideal version for me,
Right.
if that's what they were
That's a
to
good
do.
point.
Because I wouldn't
That's a
want to
good
see,
point.
obviously, you wouldn't want to see like the Killmonger that we saw as Black Panther,
Right.
you
And
know?
but I loved that his story points out that even the hero can be a villain to someone else.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
Even our T'Challa, who is so, pure
Mhm.
and good and lovely and wonderful, to
Mhm.
Killmonger, he's still a villain because
Right.
and T'Challa didn't even do it, but Wakanda is the villain
Right.
to him
Right.
because I'm one of you and you just left me.
Right.
You just abandoned me.
Yeah, and it was a really important story that
Hmm.
that movie addressed. And I'm just really intrigued to see what they do. And it sucks that we have to talk about who's going to take up the Black Panther
I know.
mantle, um, because Chadwick was just he was a gem. He was
Hmm.
an absolute gem, and he did all of
Yeah.
he did all of those movies without
While
anybody
sick.
knowing what he was going through.
It
So.
it gutted me to read after he passed that there were people because of his weight loss, people were on the internet calling him the crack panther, insinuating that he was on drugs
Mhm.
when it's like, no, actually he was fighting for his life and
Yeah.
dying, but cool
So
on
I
you to be an asshole.
hope
uh
you feel good about yourself.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the fact, like, knowing that he read that and his wife read that and his family saw how cruel people were for no reason, like,
For,
really?
yeah. For no reason. And it just goes to show, like, You don't know what's going on. Like,
No,
yes, these are public figures. They are in the public eye, but you don't know their life. You
no.
don't know what they're going through.
And if
Um,
they, yeah, like we're sitting here judging Letitia for but she's
right,
literally come out and told the world she's trash. But
right. I mean,
Chadwick never did that
it's
because he wasn't
different.
trash.
It's a different, it's entirely different. Like to compare the things are it's like apples and oranges because
Right.
Chadwick, people were saying shit about Chadwick based on things that they saw. We're
Yeah.
saying things about Letitia based on things that she has publicly said.
Yeah. She publicly says
She's
it's
publicly
different.
said it. It's very different. It's one thing to assume and it's one thing to have
Yeah.
actual like proof in front of you.
Call people out on their bullshit
Mhm.
if you know it's their bullshit,
Did
you
you
know?
see Evangeline Lilly is also mm,
That's another one that I can't stand because of Lost. Like I can't stand
I know she was
uh
cast and I was like, I don't know
John
how I
Hamm.
feel
I don't
about
like
this.
her
I don't know how I
even
feel. Yeah,
before.
when she came
Even
into
before she came out as trash.
well, when she came into the MCU, I was like, I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know how I feel about this. So, but now with this, I don't know. It's we
I
learn
don't
a
want her
lot
near
about
Paul
people.
Rudd. I don't want her near
Oh
Paul Rudd.
God, nobody
Get away
please
from him.
put that man in a bubble.
He's
We
our
love that.
treasure.
He is a national treasure.
And she
And
needs to
he
just
is
don't
he
breathe
is
near him.
he is a really great example of female versus male gaze
Yes.
because he is just ooh, he is scrumptious.
I don't know. I think that he's universal. Like my husband loves him just as much as I do.
Like Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds is Ryan Reynolds and Paul Rudd are the two men that every person is in love with.
Well, and with Paul Rudd, people talk about how he doesn't age. And it's like, that's what happens when you are not problematic and you stay in your lane and you're kind and people just love you. It's, you
Yeah.
don't age. Karma watches. Karma knows you're not going to age.
He that man is just
He's in his
phenomenal.
50s. I can't,
I don't oh my goodness. So we went off the rails,
as usual. It's
but you know what?
incoherent.
It's fangirl freestyle. We can talk about whatever we want. Let's just look at a cute little Clint Barton
Clint
bobblehead to
Barton.
make us
Should all of the people listening to this go like our Facebook and our Instagram and our Twitter and our TikTok? What do you think, Clint? Do you think they should go to Here Comes the Nerd and follow and sign up for Patreon and make a purchase with code Fangirl? And do you think
yeah.
they should go to amberdlewis.com and buy The Night the Stars Fell and pre-order Alex Story?
Yes. He
Listen,
says
it's yeses all around. He's
he's
nodding
saying yes
away.
to all of them. So
He is nodding away.
speaking of Patreon, friends, we would
Yee.
like to launch ours. So if you're interested, leave us a comment on one of our socials or send us an email and let's talk about it, people, because
Yeah.
I would really love for y'all to get these videos and you can just see me holding up Clint Barton bobbling his head or the faces that we make or my
Yeah.
insane hand gestures because I do that a lot. Like, y'all don't understand. I talk with my hands.
Yeah.
It happens
I
so
do too.
often.
And we
So
want to know before we launch, we want to know what you want though too. We want to make
mhm,
sure that Patreon for you is worth it
mhm.
because you're getting things that you want to see or hear or be a part of.
And a thought on Patreon, something that Mandy and I have talked about is we want to partner with some small shops and
Mhm.
have them like create some exclusive merchandise for us. So for example, I've spoken with Grimoire Tea and she's like, if you want, we could get a incoherent fangirl exclusive tea. So that would be something that would be a nice little Patreon perk um, if we were to launch that. So just let us know. Send us an email with
Yes.
things that you would like to see from us. We also have some I cut out a lot of stuff when I'm editing because
Mhm. We
you
ramble.
we ramble a lot. Like, you witness us rambling, but you do not
You don't know the
understand
half of it.
how much we ramble. So I cut out a lot of stuff, and I would love to be able to release some of that content to y'all.
Mhm. We had
So
a
that would be
whole discussion about the differences between Disney parks last week
yes,
that
and that
that we're
was all
saving.
cut out. I feel like there was a part of our conversation with Joanna that I had to cut because it wasn't
Mhm.
relevant to what we were talking about. It was just me getting us completely off track, as always. So we would love to be able to release that content. That would
Mhm.
be something that we do as like a Patreon perk if y'all are interested. Like I said, we're recording on Zoom, so we've got video. Every episode that we've done so far, and will continue to do, has a full-length episode, like video episode that you could be watching and you could see the faces that Mandy makes at me. Sometimes I'm just like, girl, what are you doing? You could see because we hold stuff up to the camera to
Mhm.
show each other like we're actually gonna be able to show you. So I'd love you to be able to see that as well so that we don't have to be like,
Definitely.
go follow us somewhere else.
Yeah,
So yes, send
definitely.
us an email. Let us know what kind of Patreon perks would get you excited about joining Patreon, and throw in like your price points, like your budget levels kind of
Mhm.
thing. We don't want to make it too expensive.
No.
We are very we spend enough of our money on merchandise. So
Yes.
we understand that you
We just
know,
wanna fangirl out with you, even if you're
yes,
not a fangirl. That's
yeah,
just that's
just
just our name, but, we
just
wanna fan friend. We wanna fan
we
friend out with everybody in
we
any
just want
way
yes.
possible.
Absolutely. So send us an email, let us know what you think. I also want to give a shout out to our we we have a website that we can track the stats of our podcast,
Oh, yeah!
and we it breaks it down by listener location. And we have some Finnish and German fans apparently.
Hi from
Hi,
America.
friends. So if you are, listening to us from outside of the US, send us an email. Come
And
be our
tell your
friend.
Canadian friends because Karen wants us to have a Canadian friend. So
Yeah, we had a Canadian listener on our first episode, but they didn't come back for episode
come
2, which made me
back.
sad. So,
But our Finnish and German friends have listened to both of our episodes now.
yes,
So
we're
stay.
very
We love
excited.
you.
Yes, send us an email. We don't
Yeah.
I can't speak either language, but Google Translate is my friend.
Yeah.
So if you don't know, I mean, if you're listening, I guess you do understand
I guess
English,
you
right?
speak English. So in America, they don't really make us learn multiple
Mm-mm.
languages, and it sucks
It
because
sucks.
I would love to be multilingual. So maybe you can teach us some Finnish or some German.
Some German. That'd be really fun.
I have a little bit of French, but that's it.
My French is very rusty. I
Yeah.
I I would love to get some listeners in Asia as a Chinese
Yes.
American person. I will start talking. Listen, I'll start talking in Chinese if I have to. Mandy won't understand anything that
I'll
I'm
Google
saying.
Translate. I'll Google Translate the recording. I'm good.
So if you enjoyed the podcast, we would love for you to follow and subscribe wherever you are listening to us. We would love that. We would love to have more
Yeah.
listeners. Tell your friends about us.
Leave
Um,
some reviews.
Leave some reviews wherever you are listening, especially if it's like Apple Podcast or like Spotify. I think there's like a review button. And if you review us, then we can get bumped up in the charts and then more people will find us and we can do this for more people. More people should
Yeah.
should enjoy our nonsense.
Our shenanigans.
Many shenanigans. Follow us on social media. We are at the Incoherent Fangirl on Instagram and TikTok. We are at Incoherent Girls on Twitter because they have a character limit, which we have exceeded. We
Annoying.
also, yes, it's very annoying. We have a Facebook page. Please like us there, the Incoherent Fangirl. We have a website that you can also listen to us at if you don't want to do any of like the streaming services. You can just stream us on our website, theincoherentfangirl.com. Um, where you can also find like some fun little bios about us.
Mhm.
I don't know if anybody's seen those yet, but we wrote those, so those are fun. Um, Send us an email at theincoherentfangirl.com. Questions, comments, suggestions, corrections, anything, if we said
Yes.
something that was wrong, please correct
Call
us.
us out,
Call us
please.
out, please. We never intend to be mean or
Mm-mm.
derogatory or anything like that,
Or
um,
wrong.
or wrong. We might just be ignorant and we don't
Yep.
want to be. So if we are, please tell us. Be nice
Yeah.
about it because we're sensitive people.
We
But
will cry. I will cry.
but but please tell us.
Yeah,
Um, and I think that's all of our socials. There's so many.
I think so. I think you
I
hit it.
think so.
Hit
Ugh.
them all.
I'm always worried. I should start writing them down so that I remember, but I probably won't do that because
They're all linked
but yes,
too.
they're all linked. They're all linked in the episode description. Oh, if you want to find Mandy or I on like Goodreads, you can see what we're reading or wanna yeah, that might be
Yes.
fun. If you're reading along or stuff like that. I recently discovered Goodreads this year, so I'm pretty I keep it pretty up to date, I think,
I do
and I think
too.
you do
Yeah.
too. So, yeah, if you're interested to see what we're currently reading and you're like between episodes, you can catch us there. We're
Let's
also
be
both on
friends.
Let's Be Friends. We love friends. What else? What else, Mandy? I feel like
We're
I
both on Instagram and the TikTok.
Yes, we are both on the Instagram and the TikToks. My daughter hates it when I call it TikTok.
Josh calls it tickle talk. So, and the twins hate it. He just says it because it annoys them.
I know. I'm always like, let's go watch the TikToks. And she's like,
And she's like,
Mom, TikTok.
gross.
Yeah. Ah, and she's only 7. I can't wait to embarrass her when she's a teenager. I'm so excited for that. It'll be so much fun. So, yes, we all, blah, blah, blah. Words are hard, man.
Words are hard.
Just find us. We're all over social media, both of us,
On all
individually
the
and as a
things.
podcast. We love you. Hang out with us.
Yeah.
Geek out with us. We love it. We love geeking out. We obviously like talking about it because we do it a lot on
A
here.
lot.
And you don't even know the half of it.
Nope.
I'm pretty sure a lot of the stuff that we're recording now is going to get cut because, y'all, we've been talking for almost 3 hours.
3 hours.
So I guarantee you it will not all make it into the podcast. So let us know if you want to hear some of the stuff that, doesn't end up on the podcast so we can create a Patreon for y'all.
Yes.
I'm really excited about Patreon. I love Patreon.
I do too. I'm pumped.
So I'm
Listen,
pumped
if
for
you sign
y'all.
up for Patreon and you could see this, you could see George Bailey, my
Yes,
dog, is in my lap.
you
He's been
you
harassing me.
so freaking cute, y'all.
He's
You want
rotten.
in on this
Just so you can see his
premium
cute little
content.
face.
Premium content. If
His is the
we
face I will show.
Yeah, he's so precious. You could see my Here Comes the Nerd artwork on my walls
Hey.
or my little Myrtle mermaid made by a dear friend of mine whose name I will not say at the moment because I don't know if I have permission to say her name yet. But you know who I'm talking about.
Yep. And you
So
can see all
yeah.
my bookshelves. Maybe I do a bookshelf tour one day.
Yes.
Library tour for
Yes.
patrons only.
Yeah. So please, y'all, let us know if you want to do Patreon because we want to. We desperately want to. You could see Mandy's demonic Mrs. Potts.
Yes, I could light her up
You could light her up and you
for the
could see how she
Patreon.
looks. She looks demonic when
She
she's lit up on
does.
screen. But she real cute.
She real cute.
All
Smells
right.
good.
Yes.
Demonic.
I gotta go feed my child.
And that was the Incoherent Fangirl.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for coming back. We know we talk a lot, but we appreciate all of you.
We love you.
Bye.
Bye.
We are sponsored by our friends at Here Comes the Nerd. Pins, stickers, magnets, and more. Here Comes the Nerd has happy art for all fandom-loving hearts. New customers can use coupon code FANGIRL during checkout for 20% off their first order at herecomesthenerd.com. Coupon applies to ready-to-ship items only.